all, I think your analysis was very straight line. History doesn't run in a straight line.
Kid, you cannot tell your neighbor he is stealing ducks when you are stealing frogs.
As High Commissioner, I was wrong. As Charandas Prasad, I reacted naturally how any person would have.
I did not come here for that kind of abuse. I did not come here for that kind of abuse. If you're going to go along that road, I'll walk off.
But it's all okay once they're talking. If they were talking, I could not have been here today.
You got ADHD.
I got nothing.
Calm down.
I think I've done enough in terms of taking our team out of trouble from losing.
Come on, Lou Taylor. That's good. I'm reading the script now, and the first person that comes to my mind to play a detective,
Yes,
but
the
an erratic
Mikhail
detective is Mikhail Rodriguez.
Why an African slap an Indian? Why a man and slap a woman? Look, how you deal with that? You deal with that.
We must encourage platforms like this because it brings together different people and allows for discussions to take place in our country on a multiplicity of fundamental issues.
Kingdom, you apologizing for something you think I did is wrong. I don't want you to do that, and you should not have done that. Hi, good evening. Pleasant Wednesday evening to you. This is the Freddie Kissoon show with Leonard Craig. If you didn't know, Mr. Craig is a very well-educated man, and so we're quite happy to have him co-hosting this program. Leonard Craig had a first degree in economics from UG, a second degree in economics from the Berlin School of Economics, and did doctoral studies in China, Harbin Institute of Technology. Thanks for being with us. We don't have a guest this evening. The co-hosts, the two co-hosts are interacting with our viewers. We're giving you our views. And we're joined this evening to rap with us one of Guyana's known young names in politics, James Bond. And why are we inviting James to rap with us? Because James and Leonard Craig have been the recipient of some vicious cussing down by David Hines, which the cussing downs have crossed the line. And we're going to feature some of this tonight. I want to bring it up this evening because I want to see how Terrance Campbell, Nigel Hughes, Clive Thomas, and all of them are going to deal with David Hines in coalition politics. Now, let me make it quite clear. As an East Indian, I don't want anything to do with Indian racists. No Indian person that used the N-word to describe Africans and call them all sorts of names, he cannot be in my company. I cannot respect him or her. We could disagree, but when you cussing down people's ethnicity, their religion, their culture, you cross the line. You don't do that. You don't say a woman's place is in the home to make babies. You're ignorant when you say that about women. Perhaps the foundation of civilization, women. So David Hines crossed the line. And I am familiar with what David has been saying since 2020. But I want to feature what David has said because I want to bring Terrance Campbell, who's calling for coalition politics. desperately to unseat the PPP government. And in this coalition politics, it's Terrance Campbell, Nigel Hughes, the PNC, WPA, whose presidential candidate is David Hinds. So, Leonard Craig, James Bond, and I, but the two men who have been lambasted, they will rap with you. I call it a jumbilash, but this what David Hinds do, not know jumbilash. To use Guyanese parlance, David Hinds, they're upon some serious, insane stupidness. Then I know jumbilash. Now, operator, let's introduce Terrance Campbell, Nigel Hughes, the WPA people like Clive Thomas, to one of the candidates in the upcoming elections that will ask the Guyanese people to vote for him. Operator.
Them like BT Africans, like Bamsi Africans. And we got plenty of them in Guyana. Lick bottom Africans. I saw shame of some of the black man them. Good evening and welcome to Politics 101. You all know the mood that I'm in tonight. Lick bottom Africans. Lick BT Africans. It's only we that behave so, you know. It's only we. It's only we. It's only we. Well, it's some of we, not all we. But enough of we. Just make myself an ass.
No, I don't care what David Hinds said. And I'm sure Bond and Craig wouldn't. The context is coalition politics. And having that man in coalition politics. Now, here is the Chronicle today, Wednesday, February the 12th. Operator, can you highlight this? Good. David Hinds called Guyanese lick bottom house slaves for not siding with his politics. And listen, the headline of this article is mild, very, very mild. The man went on in a rage about licking other things. So I will just fade out and then let James and Leonard come in. And then there are other things we got to talk about. But that is no jumbilash. That is insane rambling. Let's hear what Terrance Campbell and Nigel Hughes, Clive Thomas and all of them. Clive Thomas is on the WPA's party to contest the elections. Let's hear what they will have to say after this program. Over to the two co-hosts. There's no guest this evening. Guys?
Bond, take the floor.
No, you can't call him Bond. You gotta say 007 take the floor. Nobody can drop a jumbilash on 007.
never.
Because 007 cannot die.
Yeah, of course.
007 cannot die.
Thank you guys for having me here today. Thank you for the Guyanese.
To co-host.
Thank you, yes, the co-host. Thank you very much for the opportunity. First and foremost, let me say, Dr. Hinds is an elder, and I will in no way, shape, or form will disrespect an elder. What he said does not bother me in any way, shape, or form. I was laughing throughout his presence. I didn't even get to the end of it. I was laughing because I was looking at someone with whom I had some measure of respect, had some measure of friendship. And I'm saying to myself, my friend has lost his way. He has lost his way. Dr. Hinds, I taught, I think one of his daughters at Queen's College. He and I had a rapport for a number of years. When I got into politics, I met Dr. Hinds. I can remember us even marching.
Yeah.
In December 6th, I think it was 2011.
Yeah.
We marched together. I know I got shot myself and Eddie Collins. I don't think Dr. Hinds got shot. He had no injuries.
You implied something there?
No. He didn't get any injuries. I didn't see him on the front lines, but I know he was there. But I didn't see any injuries on him. I know for sure he represented WPA, a party who fought the PNC in the past. The WPA, I know, and Dr. Hinds claimed that the PNC imprisoned
even to Dr. Hines, I think he spent 3 years in being in prison for arms and ammunition, possession of arms and ammunition. Dr. Hines, I know, and the WPA blames the PNC for the death of Walter Rodney. I know the WPA formed a coalition with the PNC in APNU, and now the WPA with its leader, David Hines, has now signed on to partner with the PNC. So when I'm listening and I'm saying Dr. Hines is calling Afro-Guyanese like bottoms and all these nasty language, I wouldn't even dare to repeat it. It's freakish, and I'm not a freakish guy. I'm not a freak. I'm not a freak, you know.
David is a freak.
I'm not saying that, but he mentioned like bottom and like Bamsey and like all kind of things about no less than 20 something times, and all of that I felt for him, you know, and I'm like, bitter people express bitter things, and nasty people express nasty things, and freakish people express freaky things. So I'm listening. I'm feeling sorry for my good friend. He's lost his way. But the point is this here. After all that Dr. David Hines and the WPA would have claimed that it was done to them by the PNC, he is now with the PNC. And that's the free movement of politics and politicians. That's the free movement of politics. Nobody called Dr. David Hines a sellout. Nobody called him a like bottom African. Nobody called him any names. We welcomed him to the PNC when he did that. He's now the presidential candidate and leader for the WPA. And to hear him express such language, when our motto is, let's not forget our motto. Our motto is one people, one nation, one destiny. Our Constitution enshrines and protects that oneness, that unity that we share as a people. So me with Comrade Freddie Kissoon is not two races together. The Constitution and our motto sees us as one. It's a marriage of sorts Ghana is supposed to have and must have, and those in leadership must promote that. We must be the promoters and proponents of the oneness of Guyana. So when you see Dr. David Hines speaking of when he gets into power, who he's going to be looking after, and he seeks to divide the African race, and then to further divide the two races. It's a very sad state we're getting into in Guyanese politics. And Dr. David Hines must realize that his statements would have caused not only the majority of Guyanese to be turned off from the WPA, but the PNC must now know. The PNC must now know that this baggage, this nastiness that is uttered is now being attributed to them. Because if you're going to have your number two guy, because if the PNC and WPA go ahead in the coalition, the presidential candidate is going to be Aubrey Norton, the prime ministerial candidate is going to be David Hines. So going forward, then you have this guy is attacking every single which one that doesn't agree with him. He's speaking to Indians as though they're not Guyanese. And that's the problem I have. You can't speak about Indians and Amerindians and Portuguese if they're not Guyanese. No. You must remember, Dr. David Hines, that East Indians would have thrived under Lyndon Forbes Sampson Burnham. So don't make it seem as if the PPP would have empowered the East Indians. No. Under Lyndon Forbes Sampson Burnham, I know the business class thrived under Lyndon Forbes Sampson Burnham. Under Desmond Hoyt, the Indian business class also thrived under the PNC. Under David Granger, the Indian business class also thrived. It is not an issue when the Indian business class thrives. It's a good thing for Guyana. The point is, when the Indian business class thrives and any business class thrives, it's good for the country economically. So for you to try to drive a chasm and a wedge between Africans or black people and the Indian business class as a prime ministerial candidate in a potential coalition and as a presidential candidate if you were to go alone, that is very, very disheartening. The other thing too that struck me with this presentation is where he claims that the PP Civic is giving out lands just to East Indians. And I wish to remind Dr. David Hines, and this is fact. The Black Empowerment Network, I don't think he remembers this, they got 60 acres of prime lands right at Ogle. And you ask the Black Empowerment Network the circumstances under which they would have gotten that land. It's under the Air Finale administration, and it's prime Ogun lands. And you see these things we do not raise, we don't advocate. We say, oh, the Air Finale administration, PPC administration, not looking out for Afro-Guyanese. I could tell you this for a fact. The reason why a lot of people is not because of race and because of handouts, because they see that the People's Progressive Party Civic is becoming a party in which all Guyanese are being touched, all Guyanese are being helped, all Guyanese are being empowered. And you can't run from that fact. No matter how much you call Afro-Guyanese who are supporting them like bottoms and house niggers and house slaves, it is still going to happen. It is going to continue to happen because people are starting to look at policies. People are starting to look at who is making progress. Now, you all highlighted certain things. For example, there is no radio station now in the hands of an Afro-Guyanese. There is no television station in the hands of... And again, this is something that is so comical. Because you will recall that in government, the opportunity was there to do the same. I can remember vividly HBTV complaining bitterly for not getting ads. And this is not under the PPP regime. This is on an AP and AFC regime. You had so many people complaining bitterly. Your own people, same Afro-Guyanese that you're calling like bottoms and house niggers and house slaves, who went and knocking and marching and doing everything. We're still not getting what they're supposed to get from you. And that's why I tell people, am I to sit down to play a part in this country, to play a role in this country, Dr. Hinds? Must I sit and wait on you to become president to empower me? I'm asking you, Dr. Hinds. You said that you make an analogy that you're somewhat comfortable. Yes, I've been comfortable from the day I was born, sir. From the day I was born, I was comfortable. Materialism is not it for me. I'm the son of a pastor and the son of a nurse. It's never been materialism. I come from a house of service. But do I wait to serve? Do I wait on you to serve? What do I do? Forget about business. I don't need I don't know to give me any money. I could get my money myself. I'm not a hustler. I'm a professional, sir. I'm a businessman. I'm no hustler. But do I wait on you? Do the average Guyanese, the average Indo-Guyanese, the average Amerindian Guyanese, the average Afro-Guyanese, wait on you, sir? When you can't even do for yourself, you said it in your own words that you went to a minister and said, look, when are we going to take care of these people? The people demand giving wait 18 months. You couldn't even advocate for yourself. You can't do nothing for yourself. You can't do nothing for your community. But you want people to somehow wait on you to do something in this day and age. I tell every right-thinking Guyanese, this government is a government of movement. If you want to move, if you want to make a change, you want to make a difference, you can't listen to the old fossils. I don't mean to call, and I don't want to call my elder an old fossil. Like I said before, Dr. Hinds and I tried to call him. I would not have come on this program if he had picked up my phone call. I must say this. I tried to call him to say, look, I heard you saying certain things. Could we have a conversation? Because that's the kind of person I am. He did not answer the phone call.
And he must have seen the missed call.
Of course, he knows my number.
Yeah.
He knows my number. Dr. Hinds came to my place. We had a drink a couple of years ago, you know. And I would not disrespect Dr. Hinds. He would have made a contribution in our politics under the WPA. In his own words, fighting the tyrannical rule of the PNC and fighting Lyndon Forbes, Samson Bourne. Those are his words. And no one could knock him for that contribution in the past. But his politics, may I borrow the word of Vice President Jack, is dated. His politics is dated. It has no place in Guyana right now. And ever. We've got to move away from insulting people. We've got to move away from, and I've been there. That's why I'm so comfortable now being the recipient of it. Because I know of being there and you chastise people when they go this and you call for boy. I've been there. But at this day and age, I'm not going to go there. And I say, Dr. Hinds, your remarks are disappointing. And you may not know, but your remarks would have caused a stir amongst the Guyanese people. And you've exposed an underbelly that will hurt your party and hurt your politics in the future. I can tell you a lot of young people are listening and watching. and you see those few comments you get under your Facebook post, that's not the people going to the polling booth. The people to the polling booth, they're angry at you and they will vote against you because you have nothing to offer. No solution. You will listen to what you spoke about an hour and a half. You did not give a single solution to any problem. And I must remind you before I hand over to my friend, Mr. Craig, there's a parable of the 99 and the 100. He leaves the 99 and goes after the one. He leaves the 99 and goes after the one. Now you asking for 1,000. You saying 1,000 of them could go. Your party can't put 1,000 of people on the ground right now.
Not even 10.
No, I'm just giving. You can't even put 1,000 on the ground right now. And you want 1,000 Guyanese to now go over to the People's Progressive Party. Well, I tell the 1,000 Guyanese, accept the offer of Dr. David Hinds. You're more than welcoming in the People's Progressive Party, Civic. You're more than you will be more than welcome. More than welcome. And I'm sure progress. I could attest the progress, I could attest the movement within the PPP Civic. Let me hand over to...
Okay, before Craig comes in case you just join us, we are discussing David Hinds' insane onslaught on James Bond and Leonard Craig, which is featured in today's Chronicle. This is the headline, and the Chronicle withheld some very, very, for obvious reason, withheld some very, very nasty words David Hinds used. I'll hand over to Craig. I used to say on this program, when people criticize Craig, that you get some serious John B. Lash. But there is no John B. Lash. This is insane rambling. This is no John B. Lash. Honestly, I've known Hinds for a long time, and I think Hinds, as the English people would say, Hinds has lost his marbles. Is he a freak, Craig? I'm asking you, is David Hinds a freak? Is David Hinds a freak, Leonard Craig? Look at what this man
Freddie,
said.
on today's program, you're not allowed to ask me any questions.
Oh yeah, we don't have guests here.
Good. So let me just say what's on
James
my
could
mind.
ask you though. James ask him. Ask him, David Hinds is a freak.
David is his friend, you know. David says he's his friend. I think at the end of the program,
right.
This is his friend.
With friends like, do you need enemies?
Freddie, I have known David Hinds for quite a few years. I think going on 10 years or so, thereabout. And myself and you and David Hinds sat down, and Dr. Hinds sat down many times and have lunch and talk politics and we lied.
Well, I've known him 50 years.
We went to Barbies together. So it's somebody
I've known him 50
I've known
years.
for a while, somebody whom I've respected, and certainly his program of yesterday came as a surprise. I know Dr. Hinds is Afrocentric in his political orientation, but I did not believe, or I did not think, that his mind was so deep into the cesspool of racism. I never thought that he will go there. And I've known children raised by Dr. Hinds as well, have at least a cordial relationship, and they are nice people. And you wonder where this is coming from, and how long ago these beliefs were held. Is it something recent? Is it that Dr. Hinds have lost his marbles, to use your terms?
Or become a freak?
I don't know what it is. I can't explain. What I can say, though, is that the level of respect I had for Dr. Hinds has come down several notches. While people
that's it. What's here?
While people are still alive, you don't want to write them off completely, because I believe in the general redemption of humanity, right? And as a Christian, I can hold no other belief. So I am not going to write off Dr. Hinds totally or completely, but I'm going to write off his politics. since this program was aired, a lot of people contacted me and people have sent me information on
Not
Dr.
this
Hines.
program, his program.
His program, since the
Yeah.
airing of his program. People have sent me information on Dr. Hines, said go get him, personalized information. And I am not interested in personalizing
No,
anything.
not at all, no.
I'm not interested in personal attacks. But what I will take on is Dr. Hines' politics. What he says and practice in the political space. I am not interested in anything else. Not that I don't have the information, and I'm telling you a lot of information was sent to me that I didn't even know. And in fact, in some of them, I don't even have any way of verifying if they're true. So I can't repeat, I'm not going to attack Dr. Hines, but I'm going to say to the viewers out there that Dr. Hines' politics is stinking, and just check on it. It's very revealing. It doesn't reflect my belief in what Guyana is capable of. It doesn't respect my belief in what the young people of Guyana are capable of accomplishing. Now, if you're going to acknowledge that people have a constitutional right to associate with whichever party they choose, then why can't people make a calculated evaluation of parties and then determine that this is the best place for them to be based on the trajectory Guyana is going on? Why can't it be a pure personal decision that you've made? Why does it have to be tied to some sort of income or expected income or anything? Why does it have to be that? So let me say this, that I have chosen to associate with the People's Progressive Party doesn't mean I lose my Africanness. It doesn't mean I'm no longer a black man, or I lose the ability to judge the disposition of black people. It doesn't mean I don't want to go out there in disadvantaged African communities and see what I can do. Let me just say this. Let me just give the public an example. When I was in China in 2017, and I'm talking about my party that I used to be a part of, the AFC. I was in China in 2017. And some people from West Berbice, where my mother is from and I'm associated, and I can also say I'm from there, even though I grew up more or less in the quarantine. And people contacted me all the way in China because I still had my Guyana number tied to WhatsApp. And people contacted me and said how their roads are deplorable and they're not getting help under the government, and they see me as the representative of the government. I contacted David Patterson from my party. You hear what I'm saying? And the village I'm from is an Afro village, number 4, number 5 village. I contacted David Patterson, a calling name, from China, and asked him what he could do about the road, if it cannot be accommodated in that current year, if he could accommodate it in the budget for the following year, and see how best the road could be done. You hear what I'm saying? David Patterson didn't even grant me the courtesy of a reply, and that is a fellow executive in the same party that I had belonged in government. He didn't even grant me the courtesy of a reply. I still got that message to this day. You hear what I'm saying? And after I've associated with the PPP, I called The street is still not done to this day. And a few months ago, like about 3 months ago, people approached me again. I remember I went to the village, I visited, and a Rasta man come up to me. And he said, Dread, I hear you associate with these people. Let these people do we road. Just so the Rasta man spoke to me. And he said, tell them people that we gonna throw out, we are trying to imitate his style. He said, tell them people that we gonna throw out we belly for air from. He didn't pronounce the president's name correctly, but I'm just imitating him. And he said, tell them people Dread got for walk on proper road. And just like that, I called Dr. Barrett Jagdeo, and I said, I'm associating now with this party, and I gonna look bad if the road didn't do. The road was included in this last budget. It went out for tender, and the road is going to be done within short order. And that is the village where I am from. And those are black people I am representing. And if that is Lick Bottom or Lick BT or Lick Bamsey,
hello,
for David Hines. No, we gotta be straight. This is on the internet. This is not on TV. I ain't cussing. I'm not a cussing man. If that is what it is, then so be it. But I know that my representation is for all people of Guyana, including Afro-Guyanese, and anywhere. For example, there is a Friday market at the back of by the fire station there, and I go there every Friday. It's a farmers market.
Donkey City.
Next to Donkey City. It's a farmers market.
By the old Co-op Bank.
People who farm themselves come, people from Little Kitchen Garden, and they come there. And I was there one night, and the people didn't have light. They no light on the light pole, and so on. And I called people in the PPP, and I said, man, these people got to get lights in the night. You know, it's farmers, small people, Little Kitchen Garden. They come out and they sell their stuff there, and you see them plying their trade. And within days, lights were on the light pole, and I couldn't get that done. And a lot of those people, you go there, you see are people from Ants Grove. It's a mix, but the point I'm making is when you advocate for the people of Guyana, and my advocacy that I want is for poor people wherever they exist. I believe in raising, which is a Chedi Jagan philosophy. Chedi Jagan say, if you make policies to take care of the poor, because the rich could take care of themselves, if you make policy to take care of poor people, rich people will benefit. And I love that philosophy. I believe in that. And any contribution I make will be to raise the level and standard of living of the poorest in community. And that is why, Freddie, I am usually annoyed with the banks, because the way they behave, the policies they put forward, affect poor people disproportionately.
Yeah, of course.
Right? And
shamelessly anti-working class.
And so I am extremely disappointed by the route taken by Dr. Hines. And what he said on his program, Freddie, I believe, should make him persona non grata in the politics of Guyana. We should have no place. He should be a literal untouchable right now. Because I want to see who is going to put Dr. Hines now on with that kind of bile, vehement bile that is coming from him. Whose list is Dr. Hines going to be on?
Well, I want to come in here because let me say this. I grew up politically under the leftist leadership of the PPP and the WPA. I think I'm intrinsically socialist leftist. And I really admire those people and how they shape my thoughts. PPP, WPA. And to think that Clive Thomas, who wrote books about socialist economics for the working class, what is Thomas going to say about this here? But most of all, Terrence Campbell, the new kid on the block, he said, and he appealing for the opposition parties, in particular WPA, AFC, look, if we going to stop the PPP, you got to come together. He's saying this thing, he's saying they don't realize the extent of this problem. It's a real problem, they got to come together. It's Terrence Campbell telling us. It's Terrence Campbell telling us that he, who say cares about Guyana and he want to remove the PPP, you going to remove the PPP
to replace them
with this guy here? With this guy, the whole program. Let me quote what this man is saying. This man is saying, look, I ain't got no problem criticizing leaders. But when a country is divided as Guyana is, with African and Indians, I'm not criticizing black leaders. So you don't understand. If a black leader rob his co-op, if a black leader rob you got backs on, you throw backs on and you run away with the people money. If a black leader has committed the most atrocious act while in government or in a political party against black people, you can't criticize them. I'm going to say something now that I've never said before. And he could sue. He could sue. Do you know how many African Guyanese leadership right now, what they have done to African Guyanese? Let me tell you, there's a guy named Mark Benchop. Benchop gets on the program all the time and criticize Indian leadership with PPP and posture as an African rights. Benchop on his radio program was broadcasting things that were happening in Kaicho News. Like people were, the Haitian thing, other things. Benchop was bringing out these things, was going on in Kaicho. And Kaicho wanted to know who Benchop is getting these things from. Like when Kaicho went and looked at the Haitian situation and claimed that Haitians are coming here to vote. There was one strong Afro guy, that was taking on Glenn Lal from an Afro-centric position and saying, look, why are you saying that about Haitians? Aren't Haitians humans too? And then the famous Ozzy Rockcliffe daughter wrote something in support of said something in support of African Guyanese at a meeting. And Benchop bringing out this thing on the radio program, and it got Glenn Lal mad. Where is this thing coming from? So Glenn Lal got somebody very close to Benchop to ask Benchop, who you getting these things from? Glenn Lal asked a woman who knew Benchop very well. And Benchop revealed his source in the Kaicho News. And that person was dismissed. A very strong Afrocentric journalist at the Kaicho News. And that guy was dismissed. And this man, Benchop, is up on the radio station talking about this and talking about that. You know?
And he sold the man out.
Yeah. I am telling you, Benchop told Glenn Lal who was his source in Kaicho News.
An East Indian.
Was
East Indian. He sold out.
I was an
African brother to an East Indian.
Yeah.
This is the context of
I could tell you much. I could tell you other things that go on, what black leaders have done. Have done. And David Hines is saying, I am not clearly, I am not criticizing black leaders in a country that is ethnic divided. If Guyana was 99% black, then I would have talked about black leaders. This is obvious racism. But the thing that I'm worried about is he's saying this, and I want the two of you to comment on this now, because you got to get your passport ready. They got 10-year passport now. Because he said he coming for the you when they get into power. This is his word. I promise repercussions for those African Guyanese whom I deem as lick bottom. So, what's going to happen? He's coming for y'all.
No, can I say this here?
He's coming for y'all.
You want to go first, Leonard?
No, you go ahead. You go ahead.
He said he's already afraid.
No, let me see.
Look at my complexion. the man black like me. Look, he getting white.
Ready? Me?
Hines said he's coming for you, look.
Yeah, I saw that.
I promise repercussions for those African Guyanese I deem as lick bottoms. The man coming for you, look how white the man getting.
Dr. Hines.
No, don't tell me Clive Thomas, Nigel Hughes, then got this man in and tell me she was in a grand coalition.
Yeah. I think.
Over to you guys.
Yeah, I think, as I say, the politics of Dr. David Hines is one with that is far removed from reality. And I could tell you, he can't do nothing. Because if you have to wait on power to get repercussions, then you're powerless.
Yeah.
You're weak. If you can't handle and control and Afro-Guyanese now from doing what they want. You see, the thing is, they want to be the slave masters. You know, this whole concept of there being still a slave master. This day and age, I tell people, in this day, you get independence. When the PP Civic produced Lyndon Forbes, Samson Burnham, produced Janet Jagan, produced Chetty Jagan, produced Brindley Ben, produced all these guys, all these heroes. Let me say all these guys. All these heroes. Comrade Ashton Chase, UC Quayano, you name it. Jesse Burnham. I had the privilege of reading Jesse's book the other day.
The Way My Brother
Forbes. Interesting read. All of these great names came out of the PPP Civic. And you're still telling me about slave masters? I know of no slave master oppressing Guyana. I know of none. And I said this before. I dare to see the man who could oppress me.
Well, I'm going to cut you guys now because I am a dinosaur. Like he said, he know Hines 10 years. I know Hines 50 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm in my 70s. Hines is
but your politics
and
has been fluid.
I have never
and you
seen,
defended.
I have never seen anyone in my history, not even Hamilton. Listen, they had some serious anti-PPP people that were black oriented in the 60s. Nobody has come out in this country with such
nasty
venomous
language.
racial
nasty. I mean, that's the first. If you see in the notes I made after listening, that's the first thing I put. But I'm not going to say that. But I want to make this point.
Well, say what you got to say.
I want to finish this point
before
I'm making.
Leonard looking white to me, fighting on.
They're threatening. Yeah, Dr. Hines, I believe, want to be the new slave owner. He wants to be the new master. He wants to be the new head Negro in charge. You know, that he could, by ranting and raving and driving, he would drive some fear into Afro-Guyanese. Young Afro-Guyanese, you know. This is he's targeting young Afro-Guyanese. He's not targeting big people here. He's talking about young Afro-Guyanese. He thinks in this day and age of 2025 that he could frighten a 19-year-old who's getting jobs from the government, who's getting opportunities. Like just Sunday last at my bar there were about scores of young people of all walks of life. The majority of them were young Afro-Guyanese women. Majority. He's now trying to. He thinks he can make, as the HNIC, as the new house master, the new house slave, he can make these people afraid of him. He has no power over these young people. And they are grabbing at the opportunities with two hands. They're grabbing at it, and I commend them for doing so. Because I want to say this, Dr. Hines. You talk of people being greedy and licorice. That is the problem I have with your thinking. You seem to put a limit on what wealth people could create for themselves, of what wealth black people could create for themselves. That's what you're doing. You're saying, look, little Negro, you could only get so much, but you can't get no more. Look, little Negro, this is your place. Look, little Negro, all you gotta do is this. Look, little Negro, this is all you could be. Stay here, stay in your place. But Dr. Hines, with all due respect, no one listens to you. And I'm saying, the same 1,000 people you telling to go, you put 1,000, not 10,000. You want 10,000 in the streets, you know that's a far fetch. But you put that 1,000, let me see you put that 1,000 to support you and support your point of view on the streets of Guyana. To say, you know something, we stand with Dr. Hines that you guys who support the PPPC, you're lick bottoms and lick whatever.
If the 1,000 leaves, as Dr. Hines is advocating, that will be 995 in the minus for WPA, because they're what, 5-man party? Yeah, about 5 people. And so then the thing is this, PPP, and they have to admit it. I'm not sure if anybody from the PPP admit.
It's become too easy for them.
PPP was careless in the past in their relationship with Afro-Guyanese. I am not going to say discrimination or all of that, but I don't think that they did make it their life's achievement, or the last thing they do is to make things right with Afro-Guyanese in the past. And they may have walked, I don't know if you've seen this movie, Walk the Line, Western movie. I don't think
they walk the line.
They walk the line fully or properly or straight on but I think under this dispensation, that consciousness, that consciousness in the PPP is higher, and you can see an effort being made. It might not score 100 out of 100, but an effort that could be seen, could be felt, and an effort that is real is being made to incorporate Afro-Guyanese and to live where they are. A lot more is there to be done. I believe I could make a contribution in doing that. I believe if I am in the PPP, I can make that contribution. I could offer advice if you know, I am at a forum to offer that advice on how to deal with aspects of African integration into the PPP. That is what David Hines referred to as slave catching. If you encourage another Afro-Guyanese to associate with the PPP, you went and catch a slave and bring them into slavery. So that is what the term slave catcher means. But I believe the effort is genuine, and when people are putting forward a genuine effort, you have to support it for the good of your country and for the good of your countrymen. You have to support
in
it.
The advertisement for this program, we said we'll discuss Hines, Campbell, Nigel Hughes, and STABROEK News. STABROEK News gave him front page coverage yesterday and gave him almost a whole page.
Who's that?
David Hines, in which almost give him a whole page in which he's saying coalition talks are going all right. Lots of party can't get a whole page. This is a party with 4 members, of which the leader lives in the United States and come down here and spend 2 months a year. And STABROEK News give him almost a whole page in which he's waxing lyrical about coalition politics. So he said coalition is, the talks are going on between WPA, Working People's Alliance, and others. So the talks are going all right. He's getting coverage from STABROEK News, and the coalition talks are going all right. So So we're going to have a coalition with Terrance Campbell, Nigel Hughes, Aubrey Norton, and David Hines?
No, can I say this?
Where
here?
these votes coming from?
Can I say this?
Where these votes coming from?
No, but let me just make a. We finished. No,
Go ahead. You go ahead.
Yeah. In all due respect, I think the PNC will cut David Hines loose. I think the PNC.
They may know. Terrance Campbell,
because,
Nigel Hughes may cut him loose.
because I think that they understand the numbers game is up against them, and that having someone like David Hines will further deplete their numbers. I think any smart politician, and there should be some smart politicians remaining in the PNC, to say, well, look, we're looking now to at least secure the base. Why is this guy telling people to go over? We're at least trying to protect our base. The first thing, we thought in politics, protect your base and then you can look out. But this is a guy that is saying very clearly, let's hemorrhage.
Yeah.
Let's hemorrhage. Let us get rid of Tom, Dick, Harry, Jennifer, and Joan. This is a numbers game. And they may say, Dr. Hines, your voice is actually causing civil society to rise up against us, because a lot of civil society members have called so far. They're making complaints to the UN. They're making complaints to the ERC, because his remarks would have hurt a lot of Afro-Guyanese. A lot of Afro-Guyanese and Indo-Guyanese, for example. Mayor Ubridge Narayan is of the view. Look, if this man is talking so about black people, his own people, you're calling.
How would Indian
exactly? And that is Mr. Narayan's point, and I could feel for him, because he says, James, not suppose now, an Indian in the party says, something, man, this is not working out for me for some which way, shape, or form. Let me go somewhere else. What is going to happen to them? So now you have a situation whereby Dr. Hines has created an opportunity for mass exodus from a potential coalition. And I think the PNC and AVC will cut him loose. I think civil society will cut him loose. And I must make this point very clear. In our Guyanese context, there is no room for house Negroes and slave catchers and all these epithets, these monikers. There's no need for it. Why? The PNC had 28 years of rule. 28 years. In 28 years, the PNC had an opportunity to do everything, to do whatever it wanted. Control the executive, control the legislature, control the judiciary, you name it. There's no way you could say now that there's a master class, especially from East Indians. There can't be, because for 28 years, PNC would have dominated every single facet. So how come all of a sudden there's a master class? So in my estimation, these words, we got to be 20 plus 5, 33. 33 years, just to include the David Grange administration. So how come all of a sudden there's a master class for you saying the African supporter Afro-Guyanese? There's never been a master class since 1966. There's never been. We were always, if you look at Afro-Guyanese, served to the highest levels of office. And I dare say I must make this point in defense of the Leonard Chief Justice and the judiciary. In the case of the Marcus squatters, I do agree 100% that we could treat our people better. No one could say that, look, seeing images of our people in the mud, their homes turned upside down, their groceries in the mud. No human being could say, look, that's a good sight. That's a terrible sight to see. But what Dr. Hines did not tell you is, one, that the residents of Mokor, those same squatters, which he admits that they had no rights, they were compensated and they were put in homes. They were provided alternative housing. They were given houses by the government. He does not say this. Dr. David Hines does not say this. Dr. David Hines does not say right in the community of Buxton, where his party does zero political work, zero advocacy for empowerment, that the People's Progressive Party Civic has spent millions of dollars in terms of giving jobs to small contractors, giving opportunities to women, right in Buxton where he is. And he has done zero. in terms of empowering those people.
But before Leonard come in, the man, I know factually, I know this. I am telling the viewers this. I know this fact. Just like how I know James Bond is sitting next to me. He bought a house in Arizona, so he have no intentions of coming back. He bought a house in Arizona. The man don't even come for 6 months. Guess what he does? He comes when university close in June, and he spends June, July. Then he comes in December when university close, late December, and leaves early January. And this is a man is a presidential candidate. This is a man is a presidential candidate.
You were finished.
Yeah, just wrapping up. Yes, the very community that he's from, the People's Progressive Party Civic would have done more work empowering young people, empowering women, and in enhancing the infrastructure of that community more than Dr. David Hines. And in a lot of Afro-Guyanese communities, and this is the issue that people have, is that we don't, they said, Mr. Bond, we didn't see in sort of people. We did, and like I said, for Melanie, where I have my business, I have most of my stuff there, I have never seen, during the David Granger administration, a single person from government in Melanie. I've never seen it. Never. But we've had president visit, we've had prime minister visit, we've had the vice president visit, and you're talking about the empowerment. The Melanie Main Road, it was a simple phone call I made to Minister there. A simple phone call. And we got Melanie Main Road. Myself and another engineer, we walked all the roads in Melanie, measured them out, did BOQs, and I submitted that file to Dr. Jack Dio. And all the roads got done in Melanie, and small contractors from Melanie.
So
because of the work we did.
So what do you think Nigel Hughes and Terrence Campbell
they're going to cut him loose? They're going to ditch him. They're cutting him loose. They're cutting him loose.
The level to which that has gone, I can't fathom that any political grouping outside of the WPA would want to have Dr. Hines on their list. I also cannot. I'm trying to replay Dr. Hines' politics in my mind, and of recent, since the 2015, the coalition in power to now, I can't conjure up any thoughts of any form of empowerment, like real empowerment.
There's none.
For Afro-Guyanese.
There's none.
If Dr. Hines had such strong love for Afro-Guyanese, he was supposed to upturn every stone in Guyana when David Granger was in power, to let Granger and those who administered Guyana during 2015, because he says that's his government, he should have upturned every stone to ensure Afro-Guyanese got a better deal. It shouldn't have to be that he was mostly silent and the PPP got to come back into power.
You don't want to
with
hear
a new reinvigorated desire
Leonard
to
Craig
include
James Bond.
Afro-Guyanese.
Leonard Craig James Bond, you don't want to hear the ineffectiveness of David Hines when they had the coalition. I remember David Hines telling me, look, the man is going to lie. We were on the seawall at the bandstand, and he told me, Harmon, don't listen to him. He told me that. He told me, David Hines, you're an unadulterated, pathetic, barefaced, systematic, miasmic, degenerate liar. If you deny that you told me David Granger dressed down Clive Thomas when Clive Thomas was to make a point and Thomas remained silent afterwards. That is the coalition.
Yeah, but he admitted that in the program. He says, when he asked when we're going to take care of Afro-Guyanese, some minister told him 18 months close to elections, before elections. And he was prepared to accept that.
Yeah, and,
So
and the minister told him Afro-Guyanese are 18 months people.
18 months people. So we have to wait on. So that's what I'm saying. The politics, you're talking about politics. This is his politics. Let us wait for the massa. Let us wait for your massa to wait for him to give you what you want. Wait for him. Young people, you wait for your massa.
The operator of signal, we have one more. What he's not telling black people, what he's not telling the people of the world, wherever black people are, he's not telling them that David Hines, was in power 2015.
He was.
To 2020.
He was. He could have advocated.
And I'm saying, I want David Hines to show us the receipt. Show us the stone you upturned.
Did nothing.
To try to get black people a better deal from the coalition. One stone that you upturned. And so this fake outrage.
Yeah,
fake outrage
He's fooling black people.
About
fake.
people.
That's what laugh, you know.
About Afro-Guyanese
that's why
joining the PPP.
Yeah, that's
it's a fake outrage.
Fake.
And as I'm saying here again, we're discussing Dr. Hines, but I have not said anything, and I don't want to say anything
personal.
to attack him personal and about his own personal lifestyle or anything. Not getting into that.
You said
but
in the
but I'm talking about his politics. Yeah, well,
which means you're saying
political marbles got to be, and he is
not political marbles. He lost his marbles per se.
Yeah, something is rewired. That is the most I'm going to say concerning that.
But you're not going to call him a freak.
I hope I've kept it straight to his politics and to what he has said. I am not going to
is the man a freak?
Freddie.
No, but I can tell you this here. Can I say this here? Guys?
You will say nothing.
No. We have not, and I could respond to Dr. Hines without getting personal. But for a man to mention a particular sexual act, that amount of times, 20-something times he mentioned that.
Something.
It's kind of freaky to me.
It's a Freudian thing coming out.
It's a freaky thing to me.
We gotta go. Our operator say our time has come.
You never put your mouth there, Dr. Hines. That's all I can say. Don't put your mouth there.
Thanks for being with us. We did not have a guest this evening. The two co-hosts were joined by James Bond, and we were just rapping and talking and looking at the politics of David Hines and the implication it has for coalition politics, racial harmony, and the politics of people like Nigel Hughes, Terrance Campbell, and opposition. We will see you for our call-in program on Friday evening. I'd like to invite James Bond to share the console with me in the calling on Friday. I'll try to persuade him. Thanks for being with us. We will see you on Friday, as I normally say,